What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Deontay Wilder is reportedly about to receive a handsome sum of money for stepping aside to allow the unification world title bout between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua to happen. Indeed, the highly anticipated all-British encounter is close to being finalized, with the date and venue the only things yet to be upon. Now, ESPN's Max Kellerman, however, believes that the Alabama boxer could be getting money for simply waiting and allowing the mega fight to happen. Speaking earlier this week, Kellerman said, "Don't look too much into contracts because Deontay Wilder has got to be paid step aside. When you get step aside money, when you're next with a contract, it ain't $100,000. It's $5 to $10 million. So Deontay is getting money for waiting, just waiting." The Bronze Bomber has not fought since his defeat, of course. We know this, all right, since his defeat to Tyson Fury. But let's break down the $7 million. Okay, 7 million pounds is about $10 million now. What do I say to that amount? I think that's a little steep. I think that's something that he probably would receive if he did arbitrate. Now, the problem with this whole thing is we don't know what Wilder has said or mentioned. He hasn't said much at all. He hasn't mentioned anything. His people haven't mentioned anything. So this is where we're at. You know, I was asked to counterpunch this yet again. And my thoughts on Deontay Wilder getting $7 million or 7 million pounds, I would sit on my ass too. You know, the only problem is, will that type of money, you think about it, 7 million pounds is about $10 million. Okay, let's elaborate on that for a minute. $10 million is the type of money that makes you comfortable. See, the problem is, if we seen or anything scheduled for Wilder to be in training camp or at least a fight date, if we can get a fight date, we would feel better. I would feel better. Because if he's getting that amount of money, it's one of those lump sums of money that could put you like the Andy Ruiz situation. And you don't want to be like Andy. If anything, you want to be opposite of Andy. You want to be Andy right now. Not that guy that received a certain amount of money and then decided, hey, let me stop training. Let me step and just jump totally off my game and come into the ring looking like any damn body, right? But Wilder is a guy, based on what he's posted, you know, he's posted having fun. He had some wine. He had his gun and all that stuff. You know, he was just hanging out, which is great. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I would feel more comfortable, regardless of how much money that he receives, for him to get back into the ring. Because, you know, people talk, okay? People talk and people assume and think. And if we were to assume, a lot of people saying, hey, Wilder is retired. But look at it this way. If Wilder does retire, which I hope he doesn't, but if he does retire, what's a better way to get a $10 million severance, $10 million settlement for all your hard work or just having or signing the right contract that may or may not be expired, by the way, because that's the whole thing too that backs up for him getting cash. Does the contract still hold liable weight? That's the whole thing. 7 million pounds though, $10 million, that's a lot of money. But it's the type of money that could also put you in a certain situation where if you didn't have the money, he would have been more hungry or more motivated or dedicated to get back into the ring. You see what I'm saying? However, if he did get the fight with Tyson Fury, though, he would have got around that much money. That's probably what he would have made for a third Fury fight, win, lose, or draw. So my thoughts on the 7 million, I mean, it's calculated or whatever by Max Kellerman. The thing is to ask him why he came up with that amount. You know, I think that's the best way to answer a question, because it all came from Max Kellerman. And by the way, he's not on Fox or Showtime or any of those, you know, common networks that Wilder fights on. He's an ESPN commentator, so you can't say, oh, well, that's the reason, because he just desires him to get 10 million or 7 million pounds. No, that's not the case at all. You know, Max Kellerman had pretty damn good reason, because he knows his boxing, and he knows boxing rules in and out, and contracts and how they work, and it is that and the other. He's not a lawyer, no, but he knows. He's more than likely been in situations where the guy with a contract that has a guaranteed fight that never happened, something has to happen. And then what Max said, according to what Max said, this is happening. So the thing is to counterpunch this whole 7 million pounds, $10 million thing. I think at the end of the day, you have to ask Max Kellerman, because he could break it down a lot better than I could, because it came from him. He's the source. You guys tell me what you think of the 7 million pound settlement deal, or to step aside to allow Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace.